Just 2 weeks have passed since the Tico Rivera goal gave New England a 1-0 win over Toronto, but so much has changed since then. A 4-2 win for Toronto combined with a 4-2 loss for New England slid the Young Reds ahead of the Young Revs in the standings. Joe Rice looks to lead New England to another win over Toronto as a busy League One weekend kicks off next on ESPN+. Second match in as many weeks between New England Revolution 2 and Toronto FC 2 coming to you tonight from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, brought to you by United Healthcare. Joe Malfa on hand for the action tonight. Glad you could join us here on ESPN+. New England won 2 weeks ago to go ahead of Toronto in the standings, but after opposite results for these teams in Week 15, Toronto once again enters ahead of New England in the table, brought to you by Dan O'Brien Automotive Group. You see Toronto in 5th place with 19 points and New England in 8th with 16 points. New England does have a game in hand and, of course, could tie Toronto on points with a win tonight. And to do that, they are going to look to the man who has been leading them through these last couple of games, Damian Tico Rivera. He is tonight's Santander Bank player to watch, and he has been the man up top who's done it all for New England the last couple of games. 3 goals this season, 1 in each of the last 2 games, including this one against Toronto to beat Toronto 2 Fridays ago. He's up near the top of the list in chances created for this squad. Clint P.A. cannot speak highly enough about Damian Rivera, whether it's chances created, whether it's the goals. He felt the opportunities weren't falling early in the year, but they're falling now. And they're going up against a team that has had some trouble conceding. Toronto has had no trouble scoring goals. They're second in the league with 20 goals, tied with a couple of other teams. They're the only side without a clean sheet in 2021. That's something Mike Munoz wants to correct. There's going to be a tweak in the formation tonight to a 3-5-2, and he's challenging the central midfielders to help give them more production offensively and defensively in this key matchup against New England. It's the central midfielders that help defensively and offensively that have lacked a bit in those 2 departments. In the last 3 games played here in League One, the winning team scored 4 goals. Toronto and New England were each part of those games. Might we see fireworks again tonight? Lineups and kick next on ESPN+. Teams taking the field at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Again, tonight's game brought to you by United Healthcare. Joe Malfa on hand for New England Revolution 2 against Toronto FC 2. Clint P.A. had some thoughts about this Toronto squad that he's seeing for the second time in 2 weeks.
I think we match up well with them. We expect some changes for this game in their lineup. So, we've got to be prepared for that. But at the end of the day, yeah, they are a team that they're very fluid in their attack, and we just have to be focused and be good in how we communicate defensively with each other.
First time around, New England did well to control that midfield. Look at the lineup brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Jake Rosansky helped steer things in the midfield the first time these two teams met. Toronto could not get the ball off his feet. That's something they'll want to correct tonight, but something New England will want to keep up. Rosansky, Michel, and Buck, a very strong midfield, feeding things up to Rivera, Renix, and Kizza in the mix, who PA feels could break out, and Mike Munoz will want to stop. It was a close one last time, again, 1-0. Look at the lineup they ran out on that night 2 weeks ago. You see the 4-4-2. In the midfield with Asusi and Bernat, that's where they felt they were beat a little bit. So fast forward to tonight, it's 5-3-2, 3-5-2, however you want to slice it. Petrasso and Franklin will be getting up the wings all night long, and Mike Munoz hopes that Campbell, Antonoglu, and Yates can form a stronger pairing in the midfield. Kickoff in Foxborough. Toronto, New England have leapfrogged each other a couple of times in the standings of late. Entering this one, it's Toronto on top. New England looking to get back above that playoff line. 90 minutes to decide it. Toronto up by 3 points on New England, a 5-5-4 record to New England's 5-7-1. But Toronto has played an extra match this season. First time these teams met, New England was able to dictate the tempo of the game. They had 56% of the possession. Mike Munoz noted that of late, that's not an issue Toronto has had. They've been going into matches and controlling possession without any questions. And it's something they need to get back in their favor because so much of their attack is predicated on having the ball. Ryan Spalding on the left flank for New England. PA very happy with what he's seen from Spalding as he progresses throughout the season. A good 1v1 defender. Foul committed with Spalding in the mix. Good 1v1 defender. Knows when to take his chances moving up offensively. New England has shown a similar 3-5-2 look to Toronto at times this year, but tonight going with a flat 4 at the back. Spalding will surely get up fairly often, as will Luca Petrasso. First attempt to get it out to him on that left flank is out. Two weeks ago, there was a goal in the 46th minute from Tico Rivera. That put New England up, and then a Joe Rice save on a Mehdi Asusi penalty in the 84th minute to seal the deal. Rivera on it now, and he's fouled from behind. Mike Munoz switched to the 3-5-2 with a different game plan tonight. Something they've used in the past against Tormenta. They wanted to bring it back because he said it gives them more protection at the back and it gives them an extra man in the midfield to deal with Rosansky, Buck, and Michel. It's part of the reason that Dante Campbell is in the starting lineup tonight as well for Toronto. A very gritty, tough midfielder to deal with. He's hoping that he can disrupt things for Rosansky and Michel. It's at Rosansky's feet now. Into Michel. Campbell forces him east to west. Now Buck. Spalding. Michel makes a run. Spalding patiently goes back to Buck. The 16-year-old Noel Buck has carved out a starting role all to his own in this lineup. New England Revolution Academy player. O'Hearn has a look. It's blocked by Campbell. So far, more of the same from New England from what we saw 2 weeks ago. Controlling the possession, flowing it through Rosansky and Michel in the midfield. plays direct, looking for Spalding. Good first touch, settles it. Spalding, harassed from behind, still taking his space, and it's Campbell who again steps in to cut it off. Toronto can't get it across midfield though, given right back. Rivera in an advanced position. Rivera has it blocked. He's scored in each of the last 2 games for New England, looking dangerous again early on. The PA noted the positive form Tico Rivera has been in. Had a lot of good opportunities early in the season when they went back to review film, whether it was creating chances for a teammate or setting up shots for himself. His teammates didn't put goals away. He wasn't putting goals away. But lately, he's been capitalizing. His teammates have tapped those goals home, and it's helping them unlock their potential offensively. Flag goes up this time, though, as Rivera tries to go forward. Injury report brought to you by Shields Healthcare Group. And Donsa Presley still out for New England. Just Rothrock on the injury report for Toronto. Presley on the mend. They hope to get him back soon. Very important player on the flank for New England as the playoff race continues to tighten up. Toronto has already played half of its games. After tonight, New England will have played half of its games. We're past the midway point of the season. That came on July 20th. And things are very tight in the table as they stand. Giveaway in the middle. Campbell ranging forward, cut off. Powerful step in by Rosansky, wearing the captain's armband again tonight for New England. And quickly the other way on the attack. Kizza. Kizza, a member of the MLS squad in search of minutes. He has 7 appearances, 76 minutes played in MLS this year. But PA feels it's coming for him. The opportunities are there. Just has to be more confident in taking them. Petrasso. You'll see him down this left flank all night. Forward and backward. Threads it through. Altobelli has it blocked out for a corner. Keys to the game brought to you by Geico. For New England, it's got to be a possession obsession. The more they keep the ball away from Toronto, the more it bodes well for them. And for Toronto to thwart that possession obsession of New England, have to rely on the midfield to be a bit stronger than they have been. Emi Antonoglu tonight playing in the middle of that midfield as Mike Munoz tinkers with the combinations. Played back for Petrasso. Sent in, back post over everybody, the closest to it. Look to be Kevin Politz. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL League One and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportamerica.com. Michel might have too much on that one to Spalding, but he gives chase anyway. Dicey ball played back. It's out for a corner. It's not what Michel intended probably when he sent that ball Spalding's way, but it'll yield an opportunity nonetheless on a jet blue corner kick, the first of the night for New England. Zansky positions it. Couple of big targets to hit, namely Verfurth. Rosansky low. Renix couldn't get a foot to it. Rivera does, but it's blocked. That one's not going to trouble Andreas Vaikla, 24-year-old from Toronto. 3 appearances with the Estonian senior national team and played U16, 17, 19, and 21 with Estonia. Spent some time as a pro in Sweden and Norway. His youth days at West Brom in England. Mike Munoz very comfortable with him backstopping this Toronto squad. Taylor Patterson-Sewell, backup goalkeeper and goalkeeper coach, helping out the youngsters. Shouts for a foul from New England. Rosansky comes in to clean it up, trickling towards the corner. And now a corner given away by New England on the other end. Another look at the NL replay there. Battle between Franklin and Michel. And Tinoglu out to retrieve the ball. Again, it's played short, as it was the last time. Stephen Yates lays it off. Franklin curls it in. Renix does well to defend. Slipped out again to Franklin. Curled in. McLaughlin, he's been in great form. Don't want to see him with even a half chance if you're New England. But he sends this one wayward. Eight goals on the season now for Garrett McLaughlin, coming off of a hat trick in the 4-2 win over North Carolina. Mike Munoz very happy with their offensive performance in that game, but would have liked to secure a bit safer of a closeout in that one after going up 2-1 and going up a man. Was a little disappointed to again not have a clean sheet. I mentioned earlier, the lone team in the league without a clean sheet this year. Conceding has been an issue, goal scoring has not. Second in the league, tied for second, excuse me, with 20 goals on the season for Toronto. And McLaughlin has 8 of the 20 for the Young Reds. Altabelli inside. Campbell, who's gotten forward quite a bit from his center midfield position. Good interchange. Opportunity for Toronto. Rice comes up with the stop. Petrasso found the space, and he was denied by Rice. A look at the NL replay. Joe Rice has been stellar all season long. They ran into a rough patch against Tucson last week, a 4-2 loss. The PA pinned that a bit more on the defense than the keeper. Just a couple of mental lapses in that game. Took Joe Rice out of the lead for the Golden Glove race, but he's still in the thick of things because he saved like that. Toronto probably sick of seeing Joe Rice already. Opportunity still alive, though, for Altabelli. And there it goes, taken away by Rosansky. Rice had that big penalty stop late in the match 2 weeks ago to preserve a 1-0 win for New England. Now already comes up big there. Not even a dozen minutes into this one. Munoz wasn't unhappy with the performance the first time around against New England overall. He knows what was wrong. They allowed them to control too much of the possession. Did not allow them to settle into their attack. And with that, forced them to defend a lot. They were thrown out of rhythm the whole time. But even though all that went against them early on, they found their rhythm in the last quarter hour. They were down a goal. They had a chance with a penalty to tie. Didn't go their way. So there were some positives to take out of that first New England matchup 2 weeks ago. Helped power them to that 4-2 win then just a few days later against North Carolina. Clint PA looks on. They wanted to quickly flush the Tucson game out of the memory. They had opportunities in that game. Things just didn't go their way. They were lacking in the final third. The final ball wasn't there. Some issues from earlier in the season that plagued New England propped up again. But the back line has been happy with it overall. Just need to avoid some of the mental lapses that led to the goals against Tucson. Michel on the ground. One of the runs came that way. Kiza, Renix ended up in the same spot. Another battle involving Michel. Rosansky comes in, and it's Rosansky who commits the foul in the end. Look at the NL replay. Michel done this a couple of times already down that flank. .56% of the possession went New England's way 2 weeks ago. They had 21 shots, 7 on target. Toronto, 12 shots, 4 on target. Much of that came as the game went along. Quarter hour gone. They haven't found their offensive footing except for the one chance for Petrasso, and a golden opportunity that was. Forwarded by Joe Rice. Settling into a bit more of a rhythm, though. Franklin. With vision, looking for Petrasso, but a better step defensively by Sean O'Hearn, 23-year-old out of Georgetown. Renix dropping deep to the wing from his striker position. He has the freedom to float with Kizza. Those two will interchange a bit as the game goes along. Kaye, very comfortable with the ball at his feet. Distribution game, very positive. Through to Rivera. Spalding on the run against Franklin, cuts it back. Renix! We've seen an opportunity on each side for both teams' top striker. Renix on one end, McLaughlin on the other. And both times, both players put it slightly over the bar on the NL replay. Neither opposing defense, though, wants to see those guys shake free. Renix on one end, McLaughlin on the other. Quarter hour into this one from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Joe Malfa here with you on ESPN+. Thanks for tuning in for some Friday night football in USL League One. Petrasso running through again. Good look towards Campbell. But again, it's cut out by O'Hearn. And he takes his own space over the top for Rivera. Great play by O'Hearn to win it and then spring his top line. Rivera on the right foot with the confidence to Michel. Michel! New England dangerous when they can break in transition. That's part of what Clint P.A. was talking about, what Rivera can do, creating not only shots for himself, but for teammates. Kizza Verfurth in the lineup tonight. Have spent time this season in MLS. That verticality is not something that Clint P.A. looks at as a disruption. It's looked at as an opportunity for the young guys to play alongside guys who have that MLS experience, continue to learn and grow all together. Kizza trying to get on the scoring sheet. He's come close. Over the top again. Altabelli keeps it in. Flag stays down. Centers it towards McLaughlin. Out now for Petrasso. Campbell. Maples out to Franklin. Positive signs from a young Toronto team. It's very easy in a situation like that when you're in the box to just try to put something towards the goal, even if it's not a high-quality opportunity. With the presence of mind to pull it back and build again. But give it away. Rivera has Kizza with him. Michel there as well. He gives it away as he's looking for Rosansky in the middle. Campbell has been a handful to deal with. Disrupting the midfield of New England, exactly what Mike Munoz hoped he would do. That's why he gets the nod tonight in the starting lineup. Lived up to it so far through 18 minutes. Petrasso, 1v2, lays it off, finds Campbell. Altabelli, out for Franklin. Yates tries to give and go, a bit too far out in front on the return pass. Verfurth clears. Altabelli again. So tough to get past some of the players in that midfield for New England. These teams have done plenty of scoring early in games, especially Toronto, 9 of their 20 in the first half. Spalding to the end line. Spalding. And he wins the jet blue corner for New England. Rosansky with a team-high 4 assists this season takes the corner. Needs to do better than that. A couple now in a row that haven't gotten to all the blue jerseys in the middle. Left them both short. Good step on the backside again by O'Hearn, having himself a night. Inside, Renix, right foot, Renix tipped aside. Vikla, his first save. A look at the NL replay. Renix doesn't need much space to create a chance. The shots haven't fallen for him this season the way they did last year. Just 1 goal. Last year, 8 starts, 4 goals, 1 assist. Another JetBlue corner kick. This time it's Michel delivering. Back post. Vikla fumbles it, but he gathers in the end. Yates turning past Rosansky. McLaughlin dropping a bit deeper, taking his space. 8 goals on the season. Across for Petrasso. Tipped in. Rice directing traffic as he lays it off for Noel Buck. Transition is where New England likes to break down Toronto. Michel dances past Yates. Still with it. Didn't get that last bit right, and that's what the issue was against Tucson. Once they get into the final third, it's that next pass that hasn't been there for Clint Pierre's group. Hoping that Kizza can help change that a bit as he gives chase here on the top line. Hasn't played a ton of games over the last year and a half, looking to rediscover his game form. His mindset, his attitude, and the way he's gelled with the teammates has been great. Clint Pierre very happy with all of that, and now hoping to be a bit happier with the way Kizza starts finishing things off. Feels it's coming, and he's on the verge of a breakout. Kizza put the ball away plenty in his time at Pitt. 31 goals and 53 appearances in the ACC. Led to Kizza being drafted 24th overall this season. Switch of the field from Antonoglu to Petrasso. Campbell shows us an option in the middle. It's back for Curich. Curich saw a seam. It was closed down quickly. Toronto showing that patience again. Ball at their feet. That's when they start breaking down the lines as they are here. Franklin just backed off, let Spalding clear it, but wins his second ball. Sitting on 799 goals in League One history. Whoever scores the opener tonight will be in the history book with number 800, Petrasso. Knocked away. Campbell takes it down, shouts for handball, and awarded. Ernie Constantine in charge of tonight's match. Clint Pierre said his squad didn't look too much into that first meeting from 2 weeks ago in terms of preparing for this one tonight. He felt he would get a different look from Toronto, not only at the personnel, but also with the style. As far as the personnel in particular, Toronto didn't play McLaughlin until later on in that game. And with the players out there tonight, gives Toronto a more athletic look up top to break in behind New England. This formation, the 3-5-2, gives New England some space to exploit down the flanks. That's why we've seen Ryan Spalding, as busy as he's been, on the ball again. Space closed down, but across to O'Hearn. Fortunate bounce for New England, keeps the attack alive. A long run for Renix, keeps it in. Eyes down his defender. Working on Petrasso. Sends it in, header from Kizza. All Vikla could do was watch and hope it went wide, which it did. Look at the NL replay, see just how close this was from Kizza. Vikla frozen, hoping. Missed by a lot. Near giveaway by Vikla. Rosansky call for the foul against Yates. The opportunities were there in game one for New England to score more than just the one, 21 shots. Again, it was that final pass. Once they got higher up the field, New England, that failed them. PA wanted to press and limit Toronto's time on the ball. Did that for quite a bit in this game, at least in the first 10 to 15 minutes. But that has since entirely swung in the other direction. Now Toronto with 60% of the possession. Again, 10 minutes ago, it was 55-45 in New England's favor. So pendulum has entirely swung now in Toronto's favor, and that's how they like it. Chatting with Clint PA, the main thing he harped on was limiting Toronto's time on the ball. And in chatting with Mike Munoz, the main thing he harped on was making sure they had the majority of the ball. So it's going Munoz's way so far. Toronto, nothing to show for it on the scoreboard. Just a great chance from Petrasso. Now about a dozen minutes ago, that was met with a tremendous save from Joe Rice. Second ever meeting between these two teams, with last year Toronto not taking part in USL League One due to COVID. Petrasso dispossessed by O'Hearn. Another corner for the Young Reds. They've gone short each time. Hasn't yielded any opportunities. We'll see if this one is taken more directly. $20 goals on the season, tied for second most in League One. 2-3-3 on the road, Toronto FC. Hoping to make that 3-3-3 tonight. Played short, off the training ground. Opportunity, Altobelli! Saved off the line! Tracking back, Kaye made the stop. Joe Rice has had a great year as the keeper, but every now and then, you need a little help from your friends. Let's take another look at this one on the NL replay. Altobelli swings it in, off the line. The stop by Kaye. Well done. Presence of mind to get back there, knowing that shot was coming. Well taken as well by Altobelli. Beat the keeper, but not the defender. To Renix, the other way. Shoved off the ball, shouts for foul. Cleanly won by Dante Campbell, and now Yates takes his space. Game opening up a bit. Antonoglu has McLaughlin to his right, uses that option. Kaye made that stop a moment ago, now defending McLaughlin. Hollins takes it down. Everything going Toronto's way now in terms of the one-way traffic. This is the possession they want to see, but not like that. Given away to Kizza. Michel making the overlapping run. Kizza takes it himself. Stopped by Vikla. An exchange of opportunities now as we approach the half-hour mark. Buck to Michel. Taken down, but the ball finds Renix. Late whistle. Not much of an advantage there. Renix seemed like he was indifferent about continuing that play or not, so they'll take the free kick. New England this season has been dominant against their fellow MLS second teams. 4 wins in 4 tries, outscoring 6-0. Michel chips it over the top. Foul goes against Kaye in the box. Still scoreless a half an hour into it at Gillette Stadium. Joe Malfa here with you. And a big reason why it's scoreless, Pierre Kaye, the defender for New England, with a header off the line. Rivera trying to break the deadlock. Rivera puts it wide. Goals in 2 straight games, has that confidence. Did take a slight deflection. Another JetBlue corner kick coming for Revs 2. At least that was the initial indication. But after a chat with his associates, Ernie Constantine turns it into a goal kick. Given right back, though. Renix has an option in the middle. Couldn't find Kiza. Again, an illustration there of what's lacking for New England in the final third. Verfurth. All the way back to Rice. Buck tied for the team lead in goals. All the way across for Kaye, who's played every minute for this team since he made his pro debut on May 16th. Michel shows for Spalding. It's back to Rivera, now Rosansky. Tight quarters for New England. Can play through it, earn the throw. Spalding and Maples have gone at it a few times tonight. Same thing with Spalding and Franklin. This time, it's a Toronto player coming out on top, shielding the ball well from Spalding, forcing him into committing the foul. Just out of O'Hearn's reach. Sprung the other way by Petrasso. Kuric. Heels on the line for Franklin, but he keeps it in. Has McLaughlin with him. Franklin looking for Altobelli. Rivera looks over the top. Renix was there. Couldn't get it past Kuric. This Toronto squad developing camaraderie through all the trials and travels of their early season slate, where they had a game every 3rd or 4th day. Nomads playing in Arizona, playing in Florida. Soon to be back in Canada on a full-time basis. Mike Munoz has said those relationships, though, that they've formed and all of that time on the road starting to show up on the field as their chemistry grows. And they're starting to find a rhythm to the season. Had to ease up in training, though, a bit this week. For all the games they played back-to-back early in the year, they haven't been used to a normal practice schedule. They're starting to get there, but had to dial it back a little bit this week, hoping for fresher legs today. So far, so good through 35. The better of the opportunities have gone Toronto's way, as has the possession. Rosansky, a little careless with it. Still shielding it from Campbell. Somehow gets through it and draws the foul. A look at the NL replay. Rosansky gave Toronto's midfield fits 2 weeks ago. Again tonight, showing what he does best. Cut off by Maples. And cleared out. The USL is committed to supporting the LGBTQ plus community through the Forever Proud project. USL will strive to create safe and welcoming environments for all fans, players, employees, and partners. Learn more at uslsoccer.com/forever-proud. Set piece opportunity now for New England. Rosansky and Michel both there, both equally likely to maybe take this one. Michel departs. Rosansky sends it in towards Kizza, back post. Verfurth couldn't put it home. Look at the NL replay. Verfurth just bounced up on him maybe a half a second too early. Kizza's been dangerous tonight. Giveaway again from Toronto. Rivera cuts in. Rivera, the opportunity is blocked. Verfurth, not enough on that. Taken by Campbell. He has answered the call tonight for Mike Munoz, wanting a stronger presence in the middle of that midfield. It's been their weak point this year. Campbell providing some strength and stability. The Yates gives it away. The tide has turned a couple of times in this first half. Now it's back in New England's favor. Renix. Eyes down, Kurich. Renix to the end line. Across from Renix in front. Still loose, Michel chips it up to himself. Michel dances around and loses it to Spalding. First 15 went New England's way. The next 15 or so, Toronto's way. Both times, each team had some chances during those stretches. But as this half draws to a close, it's New England that's been on the front foot again, forcing some mistakes on the back from Toronto. A handful of giveaways that have yielded opportunities. 8 shots, 3 on target for New England. 3 shots, 2 on target for Toronto. Buck wades through the midfield. Finds Rosansky. Spalding surges forward. Michel, who has come so far in just a couple of months for Clint PA. Very happy with the progression he's seen from the 19-year-old Brazilian, who spent 42 games over 3 years with Botafogo, the U20 team. Trained with Brazil's U17 squad before the 2019 U17 World Cup as well. And now putting his talents on display for Revs 2. Buck finds Renix. He started atop the formation, Renix. Ever since the first few minutes, though, he's been on the right side permanently. Rivera has the overlap from Spalding. Calls his own number, it's blocked. Michel. Buck. Now O'Hearn. Just a few minutes remaining in this first half. Can either team break the deadlock? Buck sends it over the top, looking for Spalding. Well done by Kobe Franklin to just nod it backwards. And then the speed to recover and beat Spalding to the punch as well. Ernie Constantine can have a little chat with Ryan Spalding. He's called him for a couple of fouls in this first half already. It seems like the final warning from Ernie Constantine. Never good as a player when the referee starts pointing to different spots on the field and tallying up the fouls you've committed. Clip PA still unsure where that last foul was. Not a lot of contact there. This past weekend, these two teams both played in 4-2 games. Not the same explosive play tonight. A 4-2 win for Toronto, featuring a Garrett McLaughlin hat trick against North Carolina. New England a 4-2 loss against Tucson. The goals coming from Rivera and Sierakowski. We've been a bit spoiled with goal scoring of late here in League One. As I mentioned earlier, the last 3 games we've seen, the winning team had 4 goals in all 3. 4-2 win for Toronto, 4-2 loss for New England against Tucson, and then a 4-0 win for North Carolina over Richmond in the midweek to start off Week 16 with a bang. More on that with the highlights coming up during the Gillette halftime show. Past the halfway mark now in the League One season. I'd say the table is starting to take shape, but that shape is just a giant blob right now with all the teams very, very close together. Entering the night, 4th place down to 11th place, separated by just 4 points. Top 3 teams, Omaha, Chattanooga, Greenville, just a couple points clear of that pack. And at the bottom, North Carolina with 9 points. They've got 2 wins and 2 draws in their last 5 matches, so they're bridging the gap. Final minute of this first half, just awaiting official word on stoppage time. Rivera taken down from behind by McLaughlin, advantage played. Michel across. Finds Renix. First touch, a positive one. Renix, what a tackle put in by Kurich. Ball played out behind the plate. Just 1 minute of added time here in this first half. A yellow card shown to Kobe Franklin here in the United Healthcare stoppage time. After the tackle left Rivera injured. The last thing you want to see right now if you're New England with the form Rivera has been in. Goals in each of the last 2, tied for the team lead with 3. That was Campbell on the yellow card, excuse me. Center of the midfield has been the weak point for Toronto. Mike Munoz's words, not mine. They're trying to figure out which players and which combinations work best as he puts the best players on the field to try to control the tempo. Gave Campbell the start tonight. Noted that he's a very scrappy player that's tough to deal with the opposing midfielders. Rosansky, Michelle, and Buck haven't had a lot of trouble gliding through that midfield against Campbell's partners, but anytime they've come in Campbell's direction, it has not been easy to beat him. 22-year-old from Ontario. Another look back at that challenge. McLaughlin was there. Campbell was there. In the end, for that last bit of the collision, it was Campbell who got the yellow. Rivera, though, showing his footwork, and he is okay to go. That whistle coming any moment now from Ernie Constantine. Gave it an extra minute because of the Rivera injury. Rosansky, one last foray forward for New England. Spalding has Rivera in the middle. Eyes up Franklin himself. Spalding, it's deflected out for a corner. Well, Constantine allowed them to take it. Seems like he will. One last jet blue corner kick here in this first half for New England. Couple deliveries from the corner have not been great from Rosansky. This one better. Back towards Verfurth and headed away. Spalding keeps it alive. Campbell boots it. And with that, the whistle to bring this first half to a close here at Gillette Stadium. 0-0 between New England and Toronto. In a first half that saw waves of momentum going back and forth. New England started on the front foot first quarter hour. Toronto took things in their direction. The half ended in New England's way. 10 shots, 3 on target. Could not get one past Andreas Weikla. On the other end, Joe Rice, a couple of big stops for New England to keep this 0-0 as we head into the Gillette halftime show right here on ESPN+. And Toronto. Let's take a look around USL League One with some highlights from this past week. We start with the kickoff of Week 16 on Wednesday night, North Carolina against Richmond. North Carolina has struggled this season in League One, but not against Richmond. They start things off in the 19th minute. Robert Christo gets his first goal of the night. It's a fine goal. You maybe saw it somewhere. But the next one that he scores, you've definitely seen anywhere that you can see goals. Before we get to that, Richmond did have some chances in this one. Olex Anderson narrowly missed, equalizing just a couple moments later. And then the goal you've probably seen everywhere. Christo turns and somehow, someway, beats one of the most veteran top keepers in League One, Akira Fitzgerald. Dumbfounded look on his face after this one. Christo, with what could be the goal of the season in USL League One, gives him a brace. It puts North Carolina up 2-0. Wouldn't be the only brace we see, though, on the night. Josh Cohn kept the momentum going after halftime with a goal in the 48th minute to put North Carolina up 3-0. It's a team in North Carolina that is 0-7-3 against the rest of League One, but they're 2-0 against Richmond. Emiliano Terzaghi had 2 opportunities. He's in the Golden Boot race. Would have liked to finish these off to help his team out, to help his own case out, but they both miss the target in the end. And then it's Josh Cohn again with the exclamation point, 90+2. A brace of braces in this one. First it's Christo, then it's Cohn. A 4-0 win Wednesday night for North Carolina. They have some climbing to do in the standings, but they could use this as a springboard as they continue on. Only 1 loss in their last 5 matches. 2 wins, 2 draws for a team on the come-up. North Texas also was climbing in the standings up until this past week. They got the goal in the 57th minute against Chattanooga. A rematch between these two teams from an early season win by the Red Wolves on the road. They're the only team to ever beat North Texas in this stadium. It was Nicky Hernandez who scored that one in the 57th minute. They had a couple of opportunities to add to that and put Chattanooga away. As we know this season, as it's gone, you need to stomp on Chattanooga because they're never out of it until the final whistle blows. Kamungo had it stopped. El Medkar put it over. And then Jackson Dietrich, 90+8. It's unbelievable. We've seen it time and again. 7 games this season, Chattanooga has conceded first. They've only lost 1 of those games, and they are in 2nd place, tied with Union Omaha atop the table. Jimmy Obleda, Eric Quill, not sending at each other a postcard anytime soon at the end of this game. We go to Greenville and South Georgia, one of the best rivalries in League One, one of the earliest rivalries in League One. This ball pinballs around a couple of times after the initial shot was put in. And then Brendan Fricke, look what I found. I don't know if he really shot that or if it just kind of hit off of him, but it went in, and it put them up 1-0 against their bitter rival. Just after the break, Aaron Walker on the volley as this ball came out to him, made it 2-0. Now Greenville, think of their track record in League One. Seem to be coasting to 3 points, right? Wrong. Tormenta did something that no team has ever done. That's come back from 2 goals down against Greenville. It started with Marco Micheletto. That finish, incredible. And then Luca Meyer on the free kick beats Dallas J. It's not easy beating Dallas J. It took 2 spectacular finishes to do it there. That made it 2-2. Then in the 80th minute, Stefan Muller puts it away. What a comeback for Tormenta. A 3-2 win after being down 2-0. And they get a much-needed 3 points. We'll take more of a look around USL League One in a few moments as the Gillette Halftime Show continues.
I am a first-generation student here at Bellevue University. I feel like if I were to have gone to a different university, my experience would have been a lot more stressful and overwhelming, because I feel like I wouldn't have gotten that personal experience that Bellevue University has to offer.
The 18, the Marcus Sargent goes to his left, hard strike, and it's in the net, 2-1 Oakland.
Blanchett, another massive stop. Shoots, deflected, and a big save from Rawls. As Asante takes this on. Oh, that's a tremendous goal from Solo.
News and notes from around USL. Let's go bottom to top with this one, starting at the bottom with the league meetings concluding in San Antonio. A lot came out of that. A lot of USL potential to be in a video game coming up soon. A lot more potential for new teams to be announced, including, back at the top of the screen, Portland possibilities. Proposals were made in Portland, Maine for stadium sites for a potential club in USL League One. Fun to watch the growth of this league continue, and perhaps players from the future teams end up in future teams of the week. Eric McLaughlin, your player of the week for week 15, flanked by another Toronto player in Stephen Yates. This past week, there was a lot to choose from because there were so many goals during this past week. McLaughlin had 3 of them, put him right in the thick of things in the Golden Boot race. Everybody's still chasing Marius Lomas, but Greg Hurst, Emiliano Terzaghi there with 7 as well. The assist leaders, 2-man race right now. George Acosta, 6. JT Camara with 5. That's all entering tonight. Neither of those guys play tonight, so that will not change, but perhaps more players join the fray. Goals against leaders, Rashid Nuhu, the only goalkeeper there wearing blue, so maybe that's what has given him the edge. 7 goals conceded in 10 matches played. The only goalie with a sub-1 goals against average entering tonight. And this week, we have a lot on tap as well in Week 16. But before we get to what's coming up, a look back at what happened. Goal-scoring explosion the last 3 games that have been played in League One. The winner had 4 goals. Astounding to look at. I'm not going to complain about that. Keep the goals coming. Let's keep the excitement up in USL League One. Maybe in the Chattanooga-Greenville game. This season, the top 3 teams in the table, Omaha, Chattanooga, Greenville, they've all played each other once. All of them have been 1-1 draws, including the first time Chattanooga and Greenville met this season. We'll see what's in store this time around. Chattanooga enters in 2nd place with 23 points. Greenville in 3rd place with 22 points. And Chattanooga does have a game in hand on Greenville, a vital matchup in terms of deciding the top of the table. And that will be something to watch to get you going for the week. And then we have 3 more games after that on a quadruple header of a Saturday. Madison and Fort Lauderdale, Tormenta and Richmond. And it all ends out in the desert between Tucson and Omaha. The second time this year that Omaha is actually going out west. But the first time was when Toronto was just leasing the fields out there in Arizona. We'll see what the team atop the standings, Union Omaha, can do with that one. Back to our game coming up in just a few moments with highlights and stats from half number 1 between New England and Toronto. Time to get the ball rolling in half number 2 between New England and Toronto. Joe Malfa here with you on ESPN+. We take a look back at the highlights from half number 1. Scoreless, but opportunities were there for both of these teams. We saw a couple of big saves from the keepers, one from a defender. Let's look at it all in the Gillette first half highlights. Back in the 11th minute, Campbell pivoted. Slotted all the way through to Petrasso. Rice makes the big stop with the left leg. Big clap afterwards as well. Toronto, sick of seeing him already. The penalty save a couple weeks ago. That big early save tonight. O'Hearn has been terrific at right back tonight for New England. He's read a couple of plays, come up, intercepted them. Distributes here to Renix. The stop made by Vikla. 28th minute, this was the best chance. Play off the training ground for Toronto. Altobelli with a great shot. He bent it around the diving, outstretched hand of Joe Rice. Makaye saw it coming, and he was there to head it off the line. 38th minute, things started to turn back into New England's favor. Renix volley, top of the 6-yard box. Didn't take it at the right time, got a bit under it. 10 shots to 3 for New England. 3 on target, 2 on target. Possession ended up pretty even. Early on, it was going New England's way. Ultimately swung Toronto's way to end the half. Halftime stats brought to you by Geico. Toronto in the blue tops, red bottoms, going from right to left. Looking for another win over Toronto in the all-whites tonight, defending the left side. Back to the action at Gillette Stadium. Eleven of Toronto's 20 goals this season in the second half. Nearly an even split, but slight edge to the second half. See if they can come up with one tonight. Laughlin leads the way with 8 goals, 3 of them this past weekend. Renix back for Rosansky. And out wide again. O'Hearn, Renix. 3 white jerseys surround. Plays it back for Michel. Sent in, back post. Too close to Vikla. It was right out of the gates in half number 2. Damian Rivera scored 2 weeks ago, 46th minute, as New England held on to win 1-0 against Toronto. Past that mark here.
Don't switch off. Stay locked in. Stay locked in. Up. Stay locked in. Come on.
Ball has been in New England's possession this whole second half so far. Toronto chasing. That's how things started in the first half as well. About a dozen minutes into it, 65% of the possession was in New England's favor. Look at the NL replay as Michel was taken down. McLaughlin drops deep to retrieve it. Takes it himself the whole way, going against Verfurth. Left and right, then left again. McLaughlin trying to swim around Verfurth. Down in the end, Verfurth waves him on. Seemed like McLaughlin took himself to ground. Rivera hits one over the top. It's Renix in the side of the head. Backs away from Kurich. Rivera's been busy tonight on that left side. Renix on the right side. Cuts it in for O'Hearn. O'Hearn to the end line. Deflected. Out for a corner. A look back at that run from McLaughlin as he tried to get around Verfurth. A little bit of contact there. Nothing that would elicit a penalty call. Jet blue corner kick for Michel. High, lofted ball in towards Verfurth. Nodded away by Kurich. Sent in from Spalding. Fixture in the lineup last year, Ryan Spalding. Started 13 of 15 appearances. This year, started 12 of his 14 appearances. Missed just one game so far for New England. Kurich and Verfurth go at it. Kurich is able to turn it aside. Toronto needed some time to find their footing in the first half. Same story as 2 weeks ago. It wasn't until the final 20 to 30 minutes of that match against New England that they started to see the play go their way. The build up, the possession, the shots. Toronto above that playoff line as it stands. If this result holds, they would leapfrog Tormenta into 4th place based on the tiebreaker with 20 points. And for Mike Munoz, that's what the goal is now. Coming into the season, he admitted development the primary goal. But as he has seen his players develop and he sees the talent he has, how they've grown together, the camaraderie, the chemistry, and the results they've been able to get, he knows that this team is capable of making a playoff run. They haven't made the playoffs in League One in the past. They want to change that this year. This one sent in towards Rivera. Again, easy to gobble up for Vikla. Development still part of the equation, of course. But part of the way you develop and learn how to win is by winning. And they want to keep that going, Toronto. Quickly sent the other way by O'Hearn, but nobody makes the run. Giveaway, though, to Rivera. Rivera on his right foot, trying to find an alleyway for the shot. Rivera finds that alleyway, but puts it wide. A talented player that is also confident. A dangerous combination. Trying to extend his streak to 3 games in a row with a goal scored. Rivera last year, the youngest rostered member of the MLS side, although he spent the majority of the time in League One. 7th Academy product to sign his homegrown deal back in November of 2019. Renix takes on 2 defenders. O'Hearn forced all the way back to Rice. So far, so good for Toronto defensively. The only team in the league without a clean sheet this year. A positive goal difference. They've only allowed 1.29 goals per game. It's not a bad mark, but there's a pride taken in shutting the other team out for Mike Munoz. It's something they have not enjoyed yet. Of course, he'd prefer that comes in a win, but if it means a 0-0 draw, as long as the other team doesn't score. Renix, Kurich there. Kizza keeps it alive to Michel. On that left foot of his. Back to Rozansky. Hasn't been on the ball as much to start this second half. Michel has a go of it in front. Kizza knocks it down. Friendly fire. Got in the way of his own teammate's shot. Spalding. Kaye continued his run from his center back position. Buck with space. Kizza in front. Tried to get it out to Spalding, gets it back. Buck taken down. Clean play. Tackle put in by Politz. USL veteran Kevin Politz has bounced around a bit. New York Red Bulls 2, Greenville Triumph, Hartford Athletic. Just signed with Toronto back on May 5th. And he had quite the college career as well. 72 appearances at Vanderbilt, an All-American. Very experienced, despite being just 25 years old. And at 25 years old, the oldest member of the starting 11 tonight for Toronto. Kevin Politz on that back line. Spalding to Rivera, who's close to that back line. Flag stayed down. Back into Spalding with space. Heavy touch in the end, led him into Politz. Look at the NL replay. Shouts for handball earlier on as this one came through. Looked like there was much there. Spalding around the corner, all the way across. Renix waits for it as it hangs up. O'Hearn to Renix. In front towards Kizza. Still for New England, it's that last ball in the final third. It hasn't yielded any clean opportunities. They had the shots, had the quantity, the quality, not yet. Nearly an even split for Toronto, 9 first half goals, 11 second half, but second half has been the prime real estate for New England. Of their 16 goals this year, 10 of them come in half number 2. As I mentioned before, Politz, the oldest starter for Toronto at 25 years of age. No player on either team actually tonight older than 25, the youth on these MLS2 sides. Joe Rice, Colin Verfurth, Jake Rosansky, all 25 for New England. Late whistle to bring that one back as Campbell was taken down. Toronto looking to get Garrett McLaughlin maybe a bit more involved. A couple of times that he's made dangerous runs, he's just called his own number, tried to streak past a few defenders. Look at the NL replay. Rosansky committed that foul. But McLaughlin leads the way with goals, shots on goal for Toronto. 8 goals, 29 shots, 15 on target. They send it that way. Unable to latch onto it. Kaye over there, shielding off McLaughlin. Still giving chase, Garrett McLaughlin. Buck slides it past Yates. Kizza makes the run, so does Renix. It's Renix on the end of it. Renix against Kurich. Renix touches it by, chips it to the backside. It falls for Rivera. Mistimed jump by Campbell. In front towards Kizza. The build-up play for New England is good. The play at the back today is secure. Just things don't click in that final third. 32 more minutes plus stoppage time to figure that out. Buck to Rosansky, eyeing up across. First effort to clear from Politz wasn't great. Second header, got it further away. Contact top of the box. Play on, says Ernie Constantine. O'Hearn still down in pain. Buck battling Altobelli to win it back, and the foul goes against Buck. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source of soccer radio, featuring Ray Hudson, Tony Meola, Rodney Marsh, and USL All Access with Mike Watts and Devin Kerr every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can also hear live action from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157, the Sirius XM app. Change coming for Toronto. The night over for Antonoglu. And just beginning for Kosi Thompson. Substitutions tonight brought to you by Santander, proud partner of the New England Revolution. An hour gone, a half an hour to go at Gillette Stadium. Joe Malfa here with you on ESPN Plus as these teams battle for playoff positioning. We've made the turn into the second half of the season. And that table is tight. Foul just across midfield. If this result holds, Toronto ends the night in 4th place with 20 points. They'd be within striking distance of the top of the table, just 3 points back of Union Omaha, but Omaha, Chattanooga, and Greenville above Toronto all have games in hand on the Young Reds. And while they're that close to the top of the table, they'd only be 5 points clear of 11th place. A lot to sort out in the summer months. Michel dummies it through to himself, but Yates cleans up the mess. Figuring out the depth of the central midfielders, something that Mike Munoz wishes he knew a little bit sooner. We saw Antonoglu get the start tonight in the middle. More of a winger by trade. Showed okay in his 60 minutes of play. Now it's Kosi Thompson in there. And Altobelli has slided back a bit as well. But Thompson pushed further up the field. So Munoz continues to tinker with what he has called the weak link so far for Toronto. Not to suggest that the players aren't talented, it's just that they're not really in position. The depth not there. He's trying to pull wingers and strikers into the middle of the midfield to see if one of them will be suited by that role. Trying to put his best 11 players on the field every game. That involves putting some guys out of position. Campbell, by trade, central midfielder. He's shown well tonight. Put in to disrupt things for Michel and Rosansky. Being worked on now by the trainer. 22-year-old from Ontario has been signed to the academy since 2017. Represented Canada's U20 national team with 1 appearance at the 2017 CONCACAF U20 Championship in Costa Rica and 4 appearances in the 2018 edition. Hasn't seen a lot of time this season. Eight appearances all off the bench coming into this one for Campbell. His 9th appearance, his first start tonight. Acquitted himself well. Wouldn't be surprised to see him as more of a fixture in that starting lineup now. Like Munoz looks on. Could be a solution to that central midfield issue for Toronto. Very tough to get off the ball. Doesn't give the opposition much breathing room in the midfield. Michel and Rosansky have had their opportunities going forward tonight, but each time it's come away from Campbell. Every time that Campbell has shadowed them, they have struggled. Campbell already back out on the field. Hopefully that was just a cramp. Up to Renix. The possession that Toronto enjoyed in half number one is not carried into the second. 72% of the possession in half number two has gone New England's way. Threaded through to Kizza. Back to Spalding. Rivera, tight space, trying to get around the edge. Has Buck, uses that option. Buck sends it in. Hanging up there. Michel nods it. Spalding crashes. Kizza takes it down. Buck. Around the edge. Buck the shot. Slices wide. A lot of confidence from the 16-year-old as he has emerged into a clear-cut starting role for New England with 3 goals, tied for the team best this season. On the NL replay, see this one after he hit it, he struck it well. Continued to rise and slice away from Andreas Weikla's goal. First involvement for Thompson. Gives it away. Rivera down the left side. Rivera working on his defender. Goes down as Maples waves him back up. Change being prepared for Toronto. Nicholas Ovalle-Raffo checks in. Last year was loaned out to Madison, and he actually scored on this field against New England in a 4-0 win for the Flamingos. Sub brought to you by Santander. Night done for Campbell. A strong showing in his first start of the season. Spalding and get past Franklin. The outside wingbacks tonight for Toronto. Franklin on the right, Petrasso on the left. They haven't gotten forward as much as I think Mike Munoz would have hoped. They've been stout defensively, giving Rivera and Renix issues on the flanks. Petrasso had one opportunity in the first half. Rice made the big save. O'Hearn touches it past Thompson. Ovalle in the middle, directing defensive traffic for Toronto as they take shape and defend another attack from New England. Ball has been at the feet of a player in blue much of this second half. Over the top to Spalding in space. Ryan Spalding, it deflects in! Goal number 800 in League One's history. And it puts New England up 1-0 over Toronto. Spalding celebrates. Will he get credit for it? To be determined after that deflection. It was this scoreline that New England beat Toronto by 2 Friday nights ago. And they lead by the same score again. You got the sense that goal was coming. In this second half, nearly 70% of the possession has gone New England's way. They've taken 5 shots. Look at the NL replay. Let's see, this shot from Spalding. It might go down as an own goal. If it's going on target initially, they usually give credit to the shot taker. But this one seemed like it might have been going wide before the deflection touched it by Weikla. We wait the official word. New England won't really care about the official word. For now, it's Ryan Spalding's second of the season, brought to you by Michelob Ultra, and the 800th in league history. PA talks about Spalding any chance he gets. Such a good 1v1 defender. Positive distribution. Not afraid to move up and take his chances like that. He sneaks in behind the back line. And tonight he felt Spalding would be a big piece of this attack. With the way that Toronto likes to use the wingbacks to attack, there's a lot of space to be exploited in behind. Spalding snuck his way forward, found the ball, found the goal. In the 70th minute, it's a 1-0 lead for New England. That goal officially comes in minute 68. Still credited to Ryan Spalding with the assist going to Jake Rosansky. If that holds up, it'll be a team best 5th assist this season for Jake Rosansky, the University of Maryland product. Over the top again to Spalding. To the end line. A goal already, nearly an assist, but batted away by Vaikla as Kiza was open at the back post. England has done well preserving leads this season. 5-0-1 when scoring first. They're 5-7-1 on the season. 0-7 when conceding first. 5-0-1 when scoring first. Toronto trying to get it back. They're 1-5-1 when conceding first. Of the 7 games that Toronto conceded first, their win and their draw both came against Fort Lauderdale. The win and a 2-1 victory over Fort Lauderdale. The draw, a 2-2 game against Fort Lauderdale, back-to-back when Toronto was stationed in Florida. It was after Toronto conceded against New England 2 weeks ago. Toronto woke up a bit, started to settle in, play their style of soccer. More possession, breaking down the lines, creating chances. They had the penalty in the 84th minute. It was stopped by Joe Rice. Might we be headed to another 1-0 New England win over Toronto? And a big one it would be in the standings. This would tie these teams with 19 points apiece, and New England would have a game in hand. Rivera down the left side. Is it all for Michel? As it stands, New England would vault Toronto and Tormenta. They'd go from 8th place all the way up to 4th place above that playoff line. Tormenta in 5th, Toronto in 6th. Rosansky taken down. Challenge put in by Yates. Free kick coming for New England. It seemed like Toronto was preparing at least one sub as well. The United Soccer League, all 12 League One clubs and its players stand together in support of diversity, inclusivity, equality, and compassion. For more information on the USL's commitment to change through the United Against Racism campaign, visit uslsoccer.com. Michel stands over it, takes the strike off his teammate. It was Buck in an offside position. Based on the tiebreakers, regardless of the outcome tonight, one of these teams will be in 4th place. Toronto win or draw puts them in 4th. New England win puts them in 4th. 2 changes coming. Altabelli out. And Maples out. Antonio Carlini, one of the players checking in, and the other, Erickson Gallardo. Curious how that might change the shape and the tactics for Toronto. Maybe shift now into a 4-4-2. Maples coming off. Carlini coming on. It's a defender for a winger. Changes being prepared as well for New England with a quarter hour to go here on ESPN Plus. New England 1, Toronto 0. Goal by Ryan Spalding in the 68th minute from Jake Rosansky. The difference right now. Erickson Gallardo into the match, possibly providing an offensive spark for Toronto. Just one appearance with the 2 side this year. 45 minutes against North Carolina, had an assist in that appearance. Sekulius and Sierakowski checking on. Rennick's the first to give way, and Kizza will be the second. Both changes brought to you by Santander. Fresh legs offensively for New England as they stink to a 1-0 lead. Gallardo just sends this one goalward. Rice camped underneath it, makes the grab. 24-year-old Gallardo has shown in MLS 10 appearances. Has appeared for the Venezuelan national team as well. Toronto starting to play their game a bit as New England sits back after that goal. Passive from the Revs, allowing some of this possession, but the Turf Monster got there. Nicholas Ovalle jogs it off. For the W, the USL recently announced the formation of the USLW League, providing increased equity and opportunity for women looking to pursue careers in soccer, both on and off the pitch. Comprised of clubs from across Championship, League 1, League 2, and new expansion markets, the W League is set to begin play in 2022 in more than 30 communities across the U.S. Head over to uslwleague.com to learn more. Yates gives it away. Sekulius is taken down, play on. Yates regathers with pace through the middle. Yates has space. As an option to the left, it's McLaughlin. McLaughlin fizzes it across. Carlini couldn't get a touch to it. When New England has leads, they see them through. 6 times scoring first, 5 wins, 1 draw. They've only once conceded a tying goal this year. Gallardo on the run. And it may come as a stark surprise, but that one tying goal came against Chattanooga, who cannot be beaten, especially late in games. This year they've conceded 7 times, Chattanooga, and only once have lost. Remarkable feat. Double-edged sword. It means they're going down a lot, but they're still bouncing back and winning and drawing. And these two teams chasing Chattanooga in the standings. Yellow card shown to Sean O'Hearn. New England, if they hold on to win here, they'd be within striking distance of Chattanooga. Just 4 points back, though Chattanooga does have 2 games in hand. The second place Red Wolves. Look at the NL replay. That scuffle began on the wing. Ernie Constantine put it to rest before it could grow from there. Zakulius and Sierakowski, the 2 subs combining to advance it down the right flank. Now Michel. Run continues from Zakulius. Michel to Sierakowski. Waited a heartbeat too long on that one. Rivera cuts in, strikes, does it down the tunnel. Sierakowski and Rivera, the 2 goal scorers from this past weekend's match against Tucson for New England in that 4-2 loss, trying to bounce back tonight. 2 wins, 3 losses in the last 5 games for New England. They could end the night 6-7-1 in 4th place if they hold on to this. And it would be a secure 4th place for the time being because they have 1 game in hand on Toronto and 2 games in hand on Tormenta, the 2 other teams that would be tied at night's end with 19 points. Clint PA last year felt that this New England team with more time in the season, again last year's truncated season, made things a bit tougher on New England. They started to make a run towards the end of the season. He felt if they had another 10, 12 games like a normal year, they would have been squarely in the postseason. Tonight marks the halfway mark, their 14th game of the year, and Clint PA would have to be happy with the 4th place finish through 14 games. Rivera on his left foot. Rivera takes a shot. It's blocked. Shouts for handball. As Politz came sliding through. Now contact in the box, and it goes against Rivera. A dive called by Ernie Constantine, and a yellow brandished as well. Rivera doesn't put up too much of an argument. Games on the schedule where I'm sure Clint PA would look back and say his team should have picked up an extra point or 2. But to be in 4th place with 19 points through 14 games, that will put a smile on his face, and we seldom see a smile on Clint PA's face in the coach's box. Always stern, focused on the match. Gallardo lays it back. Franklin has it knocked away by Sierakowski. Yates seemed like he was thinking about a strike. Tucks underneath now, finds Petrasso. Haven't called his name a lot in this second half. It's not something that will make Mike Munoz happy. They want Petrasso to be one of the centerpieces of this attack down that left flank. He's at his feet again. Now Yates. Those shouts for handball go answered just outside the box. Fortunate for New England that was where it was and not 2 yards further back. The outstretched arm of Rosansky. Good call on the NL replay. Sean O'Hearn down in front of where the free kick was set to be taken. Constantine signaling to the watch. And people know he's adding this onto the end. We've got 6.5 minutes of the 90, plus whatever we see in stoppage time. 11th start of the season, 13 appearances overall for Sean O'Hearn, 23-year-old Georgetown product. Mike Munoz looks on, trying to figure out what they can do here to get at least a point. They've tied 4 games this year after going down. O'Hearn walks off to the end line. National champion in his day at Georgetown, where he beat Clint PA's Virginia Cavaliers. Probably have some chats about that every now and then. Ready for play whistle. Strike comes in and headed away. Yates need to do better with that one. Ovalle keeps it alive for Yates. Rivera puts in a tackle. Look where Rivera is on the field. He's been the left winger all night, making a defensive play on the right flank with 5 minutes to go. Sent in by Petrasso. Rice there again as he collapses to the ground. Before the 4-2 loss against Tucson, Rice was in the lead in the Golden Glove race. A clean sheet tonight would help get him back on track. As we showed you at halftime, all keepers in this league chasing Rashid Nuhu right now of Union Omaha. 10 appearances, 7 goals allowed. If this result holds, Joe Rice would have his 4th clean sheet of the season, and Colby Quinones will enter for Sean O'Hearn to help see this one through. Just the 3rd time this year that O'Hearn has been subbed out of a match. Wonder if it has anything to do with going down a few moments ago. Hopefully everything all right health-wise as Sierakowski bludgeons his way through. Spaulding, the goal scorer, touches it to Rosansky. Gallardo was calling for a foul. Haven't seen the ball at Gallardo's feet much since he entered. Quinones all the way back for Rice. McLaughlin pressures, Rice clears it. The last 3 games we've seen in League One, the winning team had 4 goals. The last game that didn't feature a team scoring 4 goals, though, was the 1-1 draw between North Texas and Chattanooga, where the Red Wolves scored 90 plus 8. Toronto trying to do their best Red Wolves impression tonight. They try to equalize late against New England as Hikaru Fujiwara will enter the match. One final bit of advice from Clint PA. Rivera's night is done. His goal scoring streak comes to an end, having scored in back-to-back games. As this substitute is brought to you by Santander. But Rivera made his presence known throughout the evening. Zakulius, give and go in the middle. Sierakowski taken down. Play on. This game has gone eerily similarly to when these teams met 2 weeks ago. That bodes well for New England. Same scoreline, possession in the same neighborhood, around 55% in their favor. They outshot Toronto 21-12. Tonight, that mark even better, 18-3. Quinones gets a touch to it, and Michel has space. Just hasn't clicked tonight for Mike Munoz's team offensively. They haven't had the possession they typically enjoy, and it's that possession that stems the attacking opportunities. The keys to the game we highlighted early on. Possession for New England necessary, and strong midfield play for Toronto. They found better midfield play in the middle than they have in recent matches from Campbell, making his first start of the season for the Young Reds, but New England held up their end of the bargain and have kept the ball away from the jerseys tonight, the white jerseys, excuse me, for Toronto. Clock reads 90 at Gillette Stadium. 5 minutes of added time coming here at the end, brought to you by United Healthcare. Michel has Sierakowski and Sekulius. Michel stumbles over the ball. The other way, Yates. Quinones tracking back. Opportunity brewing for Toronto. It's blocked. On the shot coming in from Thompson. Now Gallardo. Carlini. Cuts it back for Gallardo. Turning. And dispossessed. If this result holds, New England would move to 5 wins out of 5 matches against MLS 2 sides this season with a +7 goal difference. Sekulius battles, wins it, and draws the foul. That will take some more precious seconds off the clock. By the time this free kick is taken, it wouldn't surprise me to see us around 92 on the clock. No rush from the Revs, up a goal, Pollitt's in the book. Constantine marking off the 10 yards. Krasansky looking around. Spalding's goal in the 68th minute. That's the difference. Sekulius. Inside Krasansky, out to Sierakowski. Wisely taking it to the corner. Spalding's turn to get acquainted with the corner flag. Sierkowski surges through. Shouts at handball again. Gallardo, nifty flick on. Foul goes against Buck. 2.5 to go of the United Healthcare stoppage time. Over the back, Ovalle. After going down 1-0 against New England 2 weeks ago, Toronto flipped the switch. They started to have more opportunities. They did not have the same result tonight, unless they can muster something up here at the very end. Haven't come up with any chances in this second half. No shots on target, just one shot in general. Petrasso trying to change that. Up the flank, chips it over. All the way across for Gallardo. Franklin lines up across, takes it, center of the box, chested down, volleyed weakly, but towards Gallardo. Crashing in, contact, foul goes against Gallardo. Rather, the flag went up on the near side. You wonder if that might have been the last chance for Toronto in the opposing 18-yard box. Roughly 30 seconds to go before Ernie Constantine blows that final whistle. Zakulius with Michel, sends it across. Michael there, trying to spring something with a quick rollout to Yates. Nobody in the picture in a white jersey. Rosansky coasts through and takes it. Any moment, the whistle from Ernie Constantine. For the second time in 2 weeks, New England beats Toronto by a 1-0 scoreline at Gillette Stadium, and they end the night in 4th place in USL League One. Final score brought to you by Santander, a 1-0 win for Revs 2. They're a perfect 5-0-0 against opposing MLS 2 sides this season with a +7 goal difference. Joe Rice made a couple of stops tonight. Got some help from Pierre Caille. Toronto is still in search of their first shutout of the season. But New England picks up another. A look at the play of the game tonight, no surprise, the goal in the 68th minute. The 800th goal in USL League One history, scored by Ryan Spalding. Brought to you by NL. Took a deflection. All counts the same in the end. And it gives New England their second 1-0 win over Toronto in as many tries. Spalding's second goal of the season. Both came in victories. There's your player of the match, Jake Rosansky. Another stellar night for Revs 2, a team he leads in minutes, the captain. Brought to you by United Healthcare, the player of the match. 9th straight game, completing over 90% of his passes. For the second game in a row, Toronto could not figure out an answer for Rosansky in the middle. He controls the possession, dictates the tempo, and helps New England to a 1-0 win. Back in a moment to wrap this one up from Gillette Stadium. Your final score, 1-0 Revs 2, brought to you by Santander. 4th clean sheet of the season for Joe Rice as he chats with some of the fans, perhaps a family member here at Gillette Stadium. 1-0 win for New England. 2 of his 4 shutouts have come against Toronto in the last 2 weeks in the race for the Golden Glove Award. Chasing Rashid Nuhu, but he is hot on the trails. Now, tonight's save of the match, for all I've just set up talking about Joe Rice, not even a Joe Rice save. It's a defender save off the line. Pierre Caillet helps out his keeper, brought to you by Michelob Ultra. The save of the match, Altabelli. Great strike, curled it past a couple defenders, past Rice's hand, but Caillet bails out the keeper. That came very early on in this match as we take a look now at the Gillette full-time highlights. Back in the 11th minute, the first real good opportunity for Toronto. Here's a big save from Joe Rice on Luca Petrasso. Had that gone in, who knows how this game would have gone. A New England team coming off a 4-2 loss. Doubt creeps in maybe after giving up an early goal like that. Not to be the case. And then here's another look at that save off the line from Caillet in the 28th minute. Those were the best 2 chances of the night for Toronto. Their only 2 shots on goal right there. Could not get one past Rice or his teammates. In the 68th minute, Spalding would get one past Vikla with some help from a deflection by Kobe Franklin. The 800th goal in League One history, and it gives New England a 1-0 win over Toronto 2. Full-time stats brought to you by Geico. 18-5 in the shots. Last game it was 21-12 in New England's favor. They have Toronto's number here, and they outpossessed them again as well. Not often that we see Toronto lose the possession battle. It was the key tonight for New England. Clint P.A. said as much. Job well done for Clint P.A. and his crew. Look at the Dan O'Brien Automotive Group standings. And at the end of the night, it's New England in 4th place. Not too far behind our 3 leaders, Omaha, Chattanooga, Greenville. But tied with a couple of others, Tormenta and Toronto. Top 6 make the playoffs. Most of the teams are halfway done with their season, and look how tight things are. From New England in 4th down to North Texas in 11th, separated by just 4 points. Things will unravel quickly here in the summer. Perhaps here in the upcoming schedule as well, a quadruple header tomorrow in League One. Chattanooga, Greenville, top of the table, behind Omaha, who finishes the night out in the desert against Tucson. And a couple big ones sorting out the middle tangle of the table between Madison, Fort Lauderdale, Tormenta, Richmond at 8 p.m. Clint P.A. tonight early on, he asked some questions of his team. They answered them with a 1-0 win over Toronto, the goal coming from Ryan Spalding. For all of my incredible crew, I'm Joe Malfa saying good night from Gillette Stadium here in Foxborough, Massachusetts. New England ends the night in 4th place. Ryan Spalding gets League One's 800th goal. And for the 2nd time in 2 weeks, the Revs beat Toronto here on their home turf. Have a good night, everybody, and come back for a quadruple header tomorrow in League One here on ESPN+.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.